طيب let's begin يا إخوان. الحمد لله رب العالمين. طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family and his companions, and upon all those that follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ikhwan. طيب. وسبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Glory belongs to you, Ya Allah. Verily we have no knowledge except that which you have taught us. And indeed you, Ya Allah, you are the all-knower and the all-wise. You are the all-knower and the all-wise. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashfa' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. Verily Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction, and from a du'a that goes unanswered, and from a du'a that goes unanswered. طيب. أما بعد, to proceed يا إخوان, ولأصحاب الكتب بحمد الله رب العالمين وصلنا إلى صفحة 119. So we have arrived at page number 119. 119. فمن يذكرنا بشيء تعلمناه قبل, who can mention something that we had the honor to learn previously? MashaAllah, we learned a tremendous fa'idah, ya ikhwan, a tremendous benefit, and that is that seen وسوف ولم لا تدخلوا إلا على المضارع. And this benefit is that the lam, the seen, and the sofa, they only come upon the present tense verb. They only come upon the present tense verb, sofa, and the lam only fall upon the mudari'. No. وهذه فائدة عظيمة يا إخوان لمن يفهمها. And this benefit is tremendous for the one who understands it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. طيب, فلأصحاب الكتب فنحن على 119. So for those that have the book, we have arrived at page number 119. 119. طيب, قال بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حول كما في النموذج. So he says answer or transfer rather as it comes in the example. النموذج, the example. يزور عثمان عمر اليوم. Uthman is visiting Umar today. Uthman is visiting Umar today. سيزور عثمان عمر غدا. Uthman shall or is going to visit Umar tomorrow in the early part, so the near future, but that was going to take place tomorrow. طيب, ولتمريننا هذا سنغير اليوم ونضيف السين. So in this exercise here, we're going to do two things. We're going to add the scene or sofa, scene or sofa to the verb, and we're also going to substitute اليوم, today. So we're going to substitute the word today. You can say غدا, you can say tomorrow. طيب. You can say بعد اليوم, after today. Anytime, any word that you know that gives the meaning of not today, sometime in the future. طيب. You can say بعد شهر. You can say after 1 week. You can say بعد شهر, after a week. That's up to you. But you don't have to say tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. We're going to benefit from our vocabulary. Insha'Allah ar-Rahmanu ar-Rahim. Insha'Allah ar-Rahmanu ar-Rahim. Right? Man la yafham, who does not understand, ya ikhwan, the drill. طيب. طيب. تفضل يا أبا زبير, اقرأ ثم تغير. Read the sentence, أبا زبير, and then change the sentence. Ibrahim is in contact or is contacting the ambulance today. MashaAllah. Ibrahim is going to contact the ambulance after today. Anytime after today. طيب. تفضل يا خالد. الثانية, number 2. لا بأس, لا بأس. نعم. توفيقا إن شاء الله. تفضل يا أبا نخير. الثانية, sentence number 2. So the doctor is transferring Omar to the hospital. So change, bring a date or bring a word of the future, and scene or sofa. MashaAllah, ahsant. The doctor is going to transfer Umar to the hospital this night, meaning this night of tonight. Ahsant. طيب الثالثة, number 3. تفضل يا أبا زبير. What is يا إخوان؟ جميلا. The doctor is examining Omar today. تفضل. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. The doctor is going to examine Omar after a week. After a week. Allahu Akbar. أحسنتم يا إخوان. تفضل يا شيخ, اقرأ. Number 4. شيخ نخير, تفضل. يلزم. يلزم. So Omar is adhering to the bed of the hospital. He has to strictly remain in the bed of the hospital today. تفضل. Good. نعم. ما شاء الله. هذا الشهر. أحسنت. Omar is going to adhere to the bed of the hospital. He has to strictly remain in the bed of the hospital. What you say, هذا الشهر, this month. هذا الشهر, this month. For the whole month, he has to remain, he's bed stricken. He has to remain in the bed. Allahu Akbar. تفضل يا أبا زبير. الخامسة, number 5. يشعر عمر. عمر فاعل. نعم. طيب, so he says Omar perceives or he feels the cure today. The cure, maybe he's feeling better today. نعم. غيره, change it. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Ahsant. Omar is going to perceive, inshallah, the cure, the remedy after a month. Inshallah ta'ala. Ahsant ya ikhwan, ahsantum. سادسة أبا نخير تفضل. Number 6. MashaAllah. اليوم. نعم. Omar is leaving or exiting from the hospital today. غيرها, change the sentence. MashaAllah. من المستشفى غدا. Omar is leaving or is going to leave the hospital or from the hospital tomorrow. أحسنتم. سابعة, number 7. تفضل. طيب تفضل شيخ خالد. السابعة, number 7. So Omar is returning to the residence today. Change the sentence, change the word today, any word you wish that points to the future, and bring the scene or sofa to the verb. بعد سنة, mashallah, you can say that. Omar is going to return back to the house or the dwelling, the headquarters, after a year. After a year. Allahu Akbar. الثامنة, number 8. أبا زبير تفضل. طيب, Uthman is visiting Umar today. Our brother says there's no sound. It should be sound, ya ikhwan. You brothers on the Facebook, check the sound, inshallah. Abu Muhammad, check your sound on your side. It should have sound, inshallah. طيب, غير الجملة, change the sentence. أبا زبير. ما شاء الله. بعد ليلتين. طيب, one correction. عمارة. عمارة. عمارة منصوب الراء. نعم. سيزور عثمان عمارة. Uthman is going to visit Umar after 2 nights. After 2 nights. أحسنتم يا إخوان. طيب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. يا إخوان. طيب. قال زيارة عمر في المستشفى. في المستشفى. So now we have a new chapter. the visit of Umar in the hospital, or visiting Umar in the hospital. زيارة عمر في المستشفى. Visiting Umar in the hospital. Or you can say the visit of Umar in the hospital. كلمة زار تعلمنا قبل. The word زار, we learned زار before يا إخوان بحمد الله. So we said زار زار. في المضارع يزور يزور. He is visiting. To visit. In the past, you say زار. In the present, يزور. The masdar from this verb is زيارة. زيارة. Visiting. زيارة. Check on your side, Ghanim, as far as the volume. Anyone else on the Facebook? Can you guys hear? Inshallah ta'ala. So we can see if it's our side or if it's the brother's side. Can anyone on the Facebook hear? Ziyara is a visit. A visit. طيب. Anyone here يا اخوان؟ السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. طيب عندنا الآن تمرين جديد. تمرين جديد. So now we have a new lesson يا اخوان. A new lesson. زيارة عمر في المستشفى. Visiting Umar in the hospital. طيب لماذا عمر في المستشفى? Why is Umar in the hospital? Who put him there? الله أعلم. Allah knows best. صحيح. Allah knows best. طيب ولكن يذكر, the one who put him there is mentioned. الذي وضعه في المستشفى. ايش بيرسين يا اخوان؟ المستشفى مذكور. The one who put him there is mentioned يا اخوان. The one who put Umar in the hospital was mentioned. Who was he? By remembrance. المستشفى مذكور. The one who put him in the hospital is mentioned. Remember يا اخوان from the last passage. You have sound now? Allahu Akbar. الذي وضعه في المستشفى يا إخوان هو الطبيب. الطبيب. The one who put him in the hospital was the doctor. He transferred him to the hospital. From the last reading. فالآن عمر في المستشفى. So now Umar is in the hospital. طيب. جميلا يا إخوان. طيب. So now we have a few lessons or a few vocabulary words يا إخوان. طيب. You brothers don't remember the doctor. الله أكبر. جميلا. طيب ما اسم طبيب? What was the doctor's name? Uthman. طيب will you say Sheikh Khalid? What was the doctor's name? Uthman. طيب أبو زبير أنت معهما؟ You with them؟ الذي أعتقده أنا يا إخوان أنا اسمه ليس مذكورا. That which I remember والله أعلم is that his name wasn't mentioned. They never gave the doctor a name, but Uthman was the one that was sick. والله أعلم. Either Uthman visited or Umar. نعم. let's see يا إخوان. عثمان فحصه وحوله للمستشفى. ماذا قرر طبيبه؟ فحصه. Now Uthman and Ali were the ones that were talking. Omar was the one that was sick. Now, yeah, but the doctor wasn't mentioned. That was a trick question, Ikhwan, to see who's paying attention. It's one thing to read the Quran and read the Hadith, but to understand the main point. Allahu Akbar. That's tremendous, Ikhwan. And you can do that by understanding the tafsir generally or specifically. Many books of tafsir are general. As-Sa'di, Jalalain, Al-Muyassar, Siraj. There are many that are general. And then there are some that are in detail, where the companion is giving you the hadith of the Messenger والسلام, or another verse, Allahu Akbar, that defines this verse. But generally, to know the meaning of what's mentioned, that's important. That's the goal. That's the goal. Right? That's the main goal, ya ikhwan. Allah Ta'ala says, He says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ Allahu Ahad. Allah Ta'ala says, say, O Muhammad, قُلْ 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 هُوَ اللَّهُ Ahad. Say, O Muhammad, that He, Allah, is one. Right. The general meaning, Allah Ta'ala يأمر نبيه محمدا أن يقول لمن سأله ولمن جاء بعده أن الله تعالى ليس واحدا ولكنه منفرد. So the meaning here, Allah Ta'ala is commanding His servant Muhammad to say to the one who has questioned him about Allah and to other than him that He, Allah, is one, that He, Allah, is singled out in worship, that He, Allah, is not three, that He, Allah, is not two, but Allah is munfarid, He is unique, He is alone. And as the remaining of the verse continues, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ, that Allah is Samad, the one that is in absolute, no way imaginable, in need of anything. But Allah Ta'ala, He is As-Samad. يحتاج إليه جميع المخلوقات, that every creation is in need of Allah, that every creation is Samad, is in need of Allah, depends upon Allah, depends upon Allah. So it's not obligatory to learn all the ayat that go with the ayat. It's not obligatory to learn all of the hadith that go with the ayat. If you can do that, Allahu Akbar. But what's obligatory is that you, to the best of your ability, comprehend the meaning. The meaning of what Allah is saying. Of what Allah is saying. This is the main goal. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Anyone has anything they want to mention, ya ikhwan? No. Not the point, but the meaning. No. MashaAllah. No. And you're also going to see, Ikhwan, that when there was a class we was doing about a year ago, the Sheikh Hafidullah, he went over the men of the chain of Ibn Kathir. And he's teaching you who's the who in the narrations. And he goes over the points that sometimes when the companions differ and their meaning of the verse, it's the same. They're just using different words. And then sometimes they actually do differ over some things, some words, for example. This happens also, for example. So sometimes you have to read more than one tafsir. But generally, the obligation is that you get the general meaning of the verse. Everything else is highly, highly, highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended. So, like in Tajweed, learning the actual names of each category. No one then reaction in the salah is obligatory, but highly, 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 highly recommended. If you don't know that this is a sunnah, or that is a pillar, or that is a rukn, la bas. But you have to know what to do if the person leaves it off. But knowing the name of it, mashallah, is not obligatory, but it's highly, highly, highly recommended. Just like as a student of knowledge, there are levels. As just like a scholar, there are levels. Just like the layman, there are levels. Not every layman is on the same level. Not every scholar is on the same level. Every student of knowledge on the same level. Levels. طيب تفضل. Teach the biographies, and this is really important to every Muslim generally, وخاصة على جميع طلبة العلم. Books of the Siyar, going over the companions, the Tabi'un, Atba'u Tabi'in, great man came after them, all the way up to it's tremendous and every Muslim. But especially someone trying to be a student of knowledge. And there are many books that goes over who's who from the companions and give something about their life and the tabi'un and the great imams. Imam al-Dhahabi has Siyar Alam al-Nubala. There are many books, ya ikhwan. and they go over nice biographies of these great imams of the past. And I recommend myself and the brothers and sisters to try to get these books. And every day, try to learn from the biography of these great imams, if you can. It's going to help you tremendously in your iman, your tawakkul, your taqwa, and your talabul ilm. It's going to also aid you in your quest. Now you're going to see what the imams went through, their life, of people that came for you. They were so detached from this dunya. And why were they detached from the dunya? Even those that were rich, Allahu Akbar, they still weren't attached to this dunya, for example. So there are many books that go of these great imams. And that's important, ya ikhwan, to try to familiarize yourself with them and to study them and teach your families and the Muslims in general. Allah. Yeah. Siyar Lam Nubala. I believe Imam al-Dhahabi. No, most of the books, ya ikhwan, that you really need to become a strong Muslim are not even translated. There are only a few books that have been translated into English, but the main books, Ibn Kathir is in English, that's a summary. So there are some books, alhamdulillah, but the main books of explanations are not even being touched. Saying every day, 9 to 5 books. A lot of the students, unfortunately, get into those technical books, for example. And I believe that that's a mistake. Some brothers believe that if they're not ready. But how are you going to get them ready if you never go over the information with them? We can't just keep studying the same 4 books over and over, ya ikhwan. It's impossible. And in 20 years, we're still learning the same books. No. I remember when our Sheikh Hassan al-Banna, rahimahullah, and his wife, hafidhahullah ta'ala, zara al-Muslimina wal-Muslimati fi America. When the Sheikh Hassan al-Banna and his wife, may Allah have mercy upon the Sheikh, and preserve his wife, when they visited the Muslims from the men and women in America. And I remember the wife, the first time, I mean, you sisters don't speak Arabic. Y'all need someone to translate what I'm saying. And there were a couple sisters there that was translating for her, alhamdulillah. And then she came back a couple years later. He came twice. And he came back the second time. And she said, y'all still need a translator? I visited you years ago and you wasn't studying Arabic then. Now I came back. And again, I stay with different sajid in the areas. And the wife said, the first time we came, now years later, should be something that should encourage all of us. Because many of us, when we are in need of learning, we're not learning. And I blame a lot of the students and a lot of the imams, because a lot of the books that we may teach, or the imams may teach, the students may teach, may be too low for that level, or maybe too high for that level. It's important as a teacher to know the level of your students. But the point is, we can't keep studying usul al-thalatha for 20 years, 40 hadith for 20 years. No, yes, of the knowledge. Yes. You have to make the mudhakara of the knowledge. Yes. There are always going to be new Muslims. Yes. Allahu Akbar. But this shows we haven't making tadarruj wa taqaddum. We're not making developments in our learning. In 20 years, we should have multiple people that can come now and teach these books that we have taught. But the same brother has to keep doing the Medina book. After 20 years, no one can teach book 3 except the same brother who taught it 20 years ago. No sister can teach book 2 except the same sister who learned it and then taught it 20 years ago? No, by now, teachers amongst ourselves that we have taught, that now they can come and do the smaller level classes. So you always make tadarruj. Hadith, now you may go to the summary of Muslim, or Riyadh al-Salihin, and then you may go to the summary of Bukhari, then you may go to Muslim, then you may go to, you always make tadarruj. You learn the Surah Thalatha, and then now, you don't keep studying it for 20 years. No. Now you learned it, go to the next book, higher. Now you may do Kitab al-Tawheed. After you understand that, go to the next book, higher. Then you may do Kitab al-Tawheed by Ibn Khuzaymah. Then after that, the next book, higher. Wasitiyah, the next book, Tahawiyah, the next book. For example, what years one Surah Thalatha can teach Surah Thalatha? That's a mistake. Yeah.
They don't believe that a lot of people can read Kitab al-Hawiyah and all of these books. They say just because they have teachers,
most of that is our fault too. Yeah, the blind follower is blamed too. Is blamed. Yeah. Someone is also blamed too. Okay. Because the ability to learn, the scholars are there, the books are there, contexts are there, the students are there, the imams are there. So if you're not learning in your area, Allahu Akbar, you can go to another area. If your imam only teaches these 4 books, alhamdulillah, you master those books, that's all he can teach, now you go to someone else. But to stay there 20, 15, 17, 20 years, the same books over and over and over. No, yeah. Every year, back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Alhamdulillah. What about 10 years later? Back to the basics again? And then 12 more years, back to the basics again? And 20 years, we're still on the basics. We never pass by the basics. And that's incorrect, yeah. Brother, no. Yeah. Oh, of course, not everywhere, yeah. Alhamdulillah. 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 And that's another thing, Ikhwan. Sometimes something can be in your area, it may not be in someone else's area. But once again, we're not binded to stay in one area, Ikhwan. That's a misconception that we think. We can move, we can't go to this masjid, we can go to the city. No, sometimes you have to leave your area. If you have exhausted the resource in your area and you have the ability to go somewhere else, then you go somewhere else. Alhamdulillah. Allah's earth is spacious. If you have people to teach you in your area, alhamdulillah. But now they give you everything that they can give. So that you're going to stay and keep going over the same things over and over and over, when you can go over the bridge, jump on a train, and get more knowledge. Or type the sheikh name online and everything he has taught comes up. Alhamdulillah. That's a blessing, ya ikhwan. Right now we're on apps. None of you brothers are in front of me. We're on apps, learning, benefiting from the Arabic language. We can use technology to benefit. Just imagine Bukhari had an iPad. or Muslim had a phone, when they didn't have to walk from country to country to get a hadith, or they had electricity. These advantages that we don't even take advantage of. You have lights. They say At-Tirmidhi went blind, rahimahullah, because of the constant strain that he placed on his eyes from using the candles. So you have lights. We don't even use them to benefit. Every house has a TV. Most houses have more than one TV. Every room nowadays has a TV. Technology, technology, technology. But who's benefiting from this technology? All the lessons online, all the mashaykh online, free classes. Lord, you don't have to do anything. You just log in, type the sheikh, get your notebook, and benefit from the sheikh. Lord. But still we don't do that. It's sad. That program where you can, it's like you're in the conversation. The scholars that are teaching, their classes are online, like you're there. Book after book after book, all you have to do is benefit. And it's the virtue of studying the Arabic language, ikhwan, because now we can listen to Mashaykh. We don't need the students of knowledge. And this is not a knock to the students of knowledge. We love the students of knowledge. It's not a knock to the imams. We love the imams. But the origin of religion is that it comes from the people of knowledge. You learn from the students of knowledge, the imams, when you can't get to the mashaykh. If all of us can understand right now, we wouldn't have no classes right now. We may translate for the sheikh, but the sheikh is there. So why do we have to give classes when the sheikh is available? So the reason you take from students of knowledge is when you can't get to the mashaykh, or you don't have the language of the mashaykh. So we read the book in translation, we contact the students of knowledge, we learn from them, but that's the origin. No, never. How can it be the origin to learn from someone who's like yourself, who's trying to learn like you? May have more knowledge or less knowledge or similar. No, the tafsir of Ahl is the tafsir of the people of knowledge are the scholars, wal fuqaha, and the scholars of al-fiqh, not the students of knowledge. That's the correct tafsir. Allah is talking about the scholars, not those who are learning, but those who have learned, and those that they have and witness that they are from the people of knowledge. Allah Ta'ala knows better. طيب نبدأ. نعم. طيب نبدأ يا إخوان بالدرس. So now let's continue inshallah. Let's start the new chapter. طيب زيارة عمر في المستشفى. Visiting Omar in the hospital. الكلمات الجديدة. My watch is going off here. طيب عندنا الكلمة الأولى. First word أجرى أجرى يجري. First word أجرى. Reward, reward, recompense. You give someone their worth. Someone does something, recompense. You give them what you owe them. They did good, they get a reward. To reward or recompense. In the present tense, yujri, yujri. He is rewarding. He rewards in the present tense. أجر, to reward. Next word, تحليل. تحليل. طيب تحليل يا إخوان حلل. 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 It can mean to break something up. حلل, like to untie something. حلل can also mean to analyze. To scrutinize, to analyze something. So our word is تحليل. تحليل, analysis. This is the verbal noun. From to analyze, now becomes a noun. Detailing. Resolution. To analyze something. And the plural is the next word we have. Now on this, wasn't is actually two. We'll mention one of them. Tahalilu. Whenever you see the word that's on this shape, taf'ilun, the plural is going to be one. It can be two. The plural is mainly going to be tafa'ilu. Tafa'ilu. That shape. So our word is tahlilun. Analyze. Eat. Break up and down. The holes or composing of something. Is plural is tahalilu. Tahalilu. The plural. It's the plural. So let's take one more and then we'll go to the reading, inshallah. How much time we got, ikhwan? Not a lot, unfortunately. word, demon. Demon. Demon is blood. Demon. Dem. Demon. Demon. Blood. Demon. طيب الحوار, the dialogue بين عثمان and عمر. So we have another dialogue between Uthman and Umar. Between Uthman and Umar. طيب Abu Zubair and Sheikh Khalid. Abu Zubair you be Uthman, Khalid you be Umar. So it says, how are you, or how is your affair now, Umar? MashaAllah. So it says, be khairin, in goodness. All praise belong to Allah. I thank you for your visit. I thank you for your visit. Uthman is visiting Umar. So Umar praises Allah and then he thanks him for his visit. So he says, now, أجريت. So he says, have you أجريت, how will you use it here يا إخوان? هل أجريت بعض تحليلي? So he says, طيب, have you like been tested, or some of the like when you examine your blood, when you analyze, so have you received of the test, the analyze, or breaking down the positions of your blood, for example? No. You can say that. It's like when you're it's like a test, but they're analyzing something. Maybe he has some clots. Maybe his blood was thick, or they're trying to examine the flow of his blood, the color of it, perhaps. No. Brother. نعم. نعم. مختبر is like a laboratory, like when they do experimenting or run blood samples or the likes. A laboratory. No. So he says, yes, أجريت تحليلا للدم. He says, yes, I have received the analyzing or the testing for blood, where they're going to examine his blood. في المختبر, in the laboratory. No. ظهرت, if you join the tab to the ظهرت, no. natija. And natija is the result. هل ظهرت, the word ظهر means to become apparent, to become visible, to be made known, made clear. So he says, was the test made apparent? They analyzed his blood. So he's asking, was the results of the analyzation, is it apparent? Is it known? Is it clear? No. Follow? ظهرت. نعم. ظهرت. It is. And you both are right. So now he says, نعم ظهرت. Yes, it was made apparent. It was made known. عندي malaria. Malaria. The ra really has a kasra. The should be malaria. That second should have been over the hamza. Should be malaria. Malaria. Sickness that affects the blood. Malaria. كده a lot in Muslim countries يا إخوان. A lot of third world countries. Allah A'lam, the origin, it can come in both. You know, Allah knows best. Some other insects can carry it, mosquitoes can carry it. No. But what is the origin? I've only heard insects. It could be water, it could be anything. No. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah, good sentence, ya ikhwan. So he says, and what medicine did the doctor decide? What medicine did the doctor decide? Qarrara means to decide, to resolve. No. بعض الحقن. No. Like also another benefit, ikhwan, some more meanings of the word ajara. I want to share some benefits here as we look in another place to have more vocabulary. I wanted to share with everyone, inshallah, also. Right. So the verb, the origin is jara. This is the origin. Jara. This should be like jara. And jara has many meanings, as most verbs. To flow. To run. Like the water is yajiri, flowing, running. You can also run, like a fast walk can also be a jara. Another benefit, and this is the humble part of when you look up particular verbs. Another meaning that is new to myself is that this verb can also mean to take place. Also, Allah. So that's the benefit for myself also. To happen, to take place. ماذا جرى? What happened? Allah. And another one that we just learned also from this dictionary here is to proceed, to go, to not to flow, not to take place, but to proceed. MashaAllah. هذا الدرس يجري. This class is proceeding. You can use it like that also. Allahu Akbar. You can. Ijri. If you say it in the past tense, jara, he proceeded. If you want to command him to proceed, ijri. Go ahead, Yahi. Proceed. Go forward. MashaAllah. So now, on our scale, the verb that we had, I mentioned to reward, we're going to give some more. It should be Hamza. Ajra. So, Ajra. And I want you to go back, yeah, Juan. I'm going to make a small correction. As I believe I was thinking about the verb ajaza. And our verb is actually ajra. Ajaza is more correct. So go back to your notes. This should be the verb to reward. That's more correct. To reward. I mentioned ajra was to reward, but that's with the za, not the ra. So make a note there. Ajaza is to reward and recompense. That's the verb I was thinking of. Recompense. Not ajaza. Not ajra. So that's a correction on my part, ikhwan. I believe I was thinking about this verb, ajaza. But our verb is ajra. No. So correct there. So in the madar of this one here now is going to be yujzi. Same thing, you're just changing your ra to a za. Yujzi. This is the present tense. Yujzi. Yujzi. طيب, so وفيكم بارك الله. So the verb of the lesson is actually not ajaza. I believe I was given ajaza, but our verb is ajra. Now ajra, we're going to mention a few of them. It can mean to make something flow. To make something flow. To make something proceed. To make something go. Also mean to carry out an experience. And they bring many more, ya ikhwan, to impose, to carry out, to conduct an investigation. MashaAllah. Ajalar, naam. It can also mean, lastly, another benefit. This one can also mean the delays happen. MashaAllah. Right? So let's finish the reading of Quran before we go pray, inshallah. So he says, when Umar read, I believe Sheikh Khalid read, بعض الحبوب وبعض الحقن. So he said, as he said before that, what medicine did the doctor decide to give him? He says, بعض الحبوب, some capsules, some tablets, and some injections. Hubub are like capsules, and al-huqanu is injections. I'm going to go again. This is just to get some for the reading. تفضل يا عثمان. So he says, and how do you use them? How do you take those capsules, the injections? How do you use them? Ista'mala means to use. Ista'mala. 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 To use. To utilize. طيب تفضل. Good. مرات مرات يوميا. Good. نعم. Yes. طيب. So now this sentence here, يا إخوان, a lot of benefit. He says, أخذ, I take. Now remember, يا إخوان, the verb أخذ. أخذ means to take. It can also mean to begin. أخذ, to take. It can also mean to start. It can also mean to seize, to capture. أخذ. When he says أخذ, that's the مضارع للمتكلم أنا. So when you say أخذ, that's for the first person, the speaker. I take, or I am taken. آخذ, I take. Speaker, I am taking. Speaker. So he says, كيف تستعملها, and how do you take it? So he's explaining how he takes it. Okay. So he says, حبتين, two, or حبتين, two capitals. So the word حبة, حبة. حبة. It can also be a seed, like grain of something. حبة. It can also be like a seed. A black seed in the powder form, حبة سوداء. The black seed is grounded. Those seeds, call them حبة. So he says, آخذ حبتين. I take two capsules. ثلاث مرات, three times, يوميا, three times a day. So pay attention there, إخوان. ثلاث مرات, three times. يوميا, a day. طيب. وحقنة, حقنة is a shot, like an injection, a shot of something. حقنة, حقنة, a shot, an injection. حقنة. Sometimes the medicine can be in liquid, it can be habba, it can be حقنة. It can be in a capsule or tablet. It can also be in a syringe. Right. So let's do one more, ya ikhwan, and then we'll stop, inshallah. He says, حقنة في العضل. العضل is the muscle. العضل. العضل. العضل, the muscle. العضل. And we'll take what he says. في العضل كل يوم, to take an injection or a shot in his muscle every day. Every day. In the Arabic language, if a number is not mentioned, it's understood to be one. And it's why some of the narrations of hadith, the scholars differ on did the Prophet of Allah wipe his feet 3 times or just one. But some narrations, it doesn't say the number when you get to the feet. Some narration says, and he wiped his feet, or he washed his feet rather, ثلاثا, 3. And some narration in his feet if a number is not mentioned, is understood to be 1. If a number is not mentioned, is understood to be 1. Usually, if a number is not mentioned, is understood to be. And this is why some scholars also say that when you wipe your feet, you do them at the same time. And other scholars say, no, you start with the right and then the left. But in some of the narrations of the wudu, it says, and then he wiped his right and then the left. So they leave it general. Because in some narrations, it doesn't say he washed his right and then his left, or he wiped his right and then his left. Some narration says, and he wiped his feet. No. طيب, so we'll stop there, ikhwan. Inshallah ta'ala. For homework, I want you to go back and write out this passage. Write it out. So I want you to write out the passage. We'll continue, inshallah ta'ala, with the first exercise of this passage. طيب. إن شاء تعالى فنسبت فمن الله ونختطف من نفسي. Anything that we said that's correct is from Allah. Anything that said that's incorrect is from ourselves. وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our sister says they never mention his name, and that's cool.